Yeah, I'm checking out Journey to Somewhere 2 and Prajit 5803's game. Was a Scandinavian defense, which is on a D5. I mean, this has always been pretty popular, and we've actually seen it a couple times now at the top levels. Um, I know Magnus played it in part of the Champions Chess Tour against Ali Reza and actually lost a pretty interesting game. I think Richard Rapport has played it as well, the top Hungarian Grandmaster. So it's yeah, it's a good weapon. The only issue is, well, in this variation, your queen comes out early. You can also go here, knight f6. So it's not necessarily like the most principled, because when you bring your queen out early, she can be attacked by pieces and forced to lose time by moving away. But it leads to a wide open game, which is always a good thing for kids improving. Well, it leads to just a lot of tactics. You have to be on the lookout for threats. And yeah, I like this move, knight f3. So you could attack the queen right away with knight c3. And that's also perfectly fine move. But knight f3 is just kind of flexible, because you might also go c4, d4 later. And black has to always kind of think about when to move the queen. So I remember actually looking into this setup pretty recently and liking it a lot for white. But black's fine too. We're probably around somewhere between equal, maybe just a little bit better for white, but you know, white goes first, so yeah. G3, I guess he wants to go here, but it is kind of weakening. But maybe it's okay. And yeah, here we are. So pretty interesting game. White has more space because their pawns are further moved up the board in this case. But black's position is very solid with no weaknesses. So I think, I mean, the plans for both sides are still to kind of finish developing pieces. Maybe white is going to try to put a piece on e5. And it's just kind of a battle for the center. Black has to, I guess really black has to decide how they're going to attack the middle. Otherwise, I think white can just pretty easily develop and use their space advantage. So yeah, definitely a good moment to think and think where you want to develop your pieces. All right, this game. This is Sean Cheriview and Catch 31. Yeah, no, I mean, you can do a lot worse by starting off this way for both sides. You know, I've played this many, many times. I think it's great for just learning about chess in general. You know, you can play simple systems like the London, you know, stuff like that, where your first 6 moves are all predetermined. But I really stress that, you know, it's good to just play the classical stuff like e4, e5. Then you have the Italian game, because then you actually do have to pay attention to your opponent's possibilities and you just learn more about the game. I mean, this stuff can be simple too. You know, just learn a couple plans and just play it. But anyway, so d3. Yeah, bishop e7. That's actually what I've been getting into lately. Bishop c5 is also possible. But it just gets kind of complicated because white can go like c3, d4. You got to drop the bishop back. I think Magnus really has popularized the Italian game. Well, Magnus, Wesley So, and it's just got a lot more complicated than it used to be. Even like just 20 years ago, the top players would play Bishop b5, the War Lopez, and that's been analyzed forever. And I feel like this is now happening with the Italian game. So the idea behind Bishop e7 is you don't have to worry about the bishop being attacked by a d4. Bishop g5 is no longer a pin. I just think this is so much easier to play, even though it's a little bit more passive than if the bishop's on c5. Yeah, so this, okay, nice. Yeah, h3 is a mistake. think even. Okay, yeah. So at this point, I think white needs to go here or a4 because now black's gonna get the bishop for the knight. And in general, it's just kind of nice to have the two bishops against either two knights or a bishop and a knight, since bishops are just a little bit more powerful than knights in most cases. So white would be better to avoid this. Actually, black doesn't even have to rush in taking this. You can maybe go c6 or, just take a few more moves. But yeah, this is fine. Yeah, white drops a pawn. And this is starting to look really good for white. I mean, really good for black. Yeah, so I think person playing white just on move, what is this? Move 7. Just be aware of this idea. And so you can just simply play, I think a4 is the main move. Yeah, so good for black for being alert to this knight a5 idea. It's one of the main ideas when you have the bishop back here. I guess you can also do this if the bishop's up here, but it just doesn't seem to happen as often. So anyway. Okay, so Simon Mango, Shri 007. Yeah, c4. No, it's a perfectly fine way to play. I just remember when I was at nationals one year, I was really little, like second or third grade, and my opponent played c4 against me. And my coach was like, who's teaching their kids to play the English? But whatever. Okay, it's a little unusual. Oh, black does a gambit? What transposed into something? All right, this is all a bit strange. So, okay, black's giving up a pawn and the pawn center, but black does have a big lead in development. I mean, we can really count 4 pieces developed. White's 1 piece. White is still pretty far from castling. So I think the sacrifice is interesting. But black needs to act fast. Yeah, I mean, just like that, white suddenly was developed. All right, that tells me that, yeah, maybe this opening just a little suspect. The thing is, you can't really get at white's center. You don't really even see a quick way to strike. But actually, well, let's see. It's okay. Yeah, I was thinking maybe back here. I mean, maybe you could just take the bishop and just, use your bishops, try to attack white on the open D file, something like that. Yeah, see, now it's definitely trending in white's favor. So this is even. It's got another case where we have the strong center against 2 bishops. And black just played rook a to, or well, just rook to b8. Mysterious move. Yeah, this looks like a really good game. All right, we got the Spanish game with bishop b5. Let's see what line black played here. Yeah, I don't know anything about this system. Okay. Ooh. Well, that's what's crazy about chess, right? It's like, even in an opening like the Spanish, which is literally been around for 500 years, always been played by the top players, so it's very deeply analyzed. You can still just get like a totally new position. Trying to decide who I'd rather be here. No, this knight looks a little silly, but it does defend the D pawn and control some key squares. Still trying to figure out what Rook B8 was about. So, very mysterious. Yeah, I guess I would like black because it seems like the position is just a little bit easier to play for black. You have to watch your king because there are, especially with the queen of bishop battery, you always have to watch out for that. Because the bishop supports the queen. Looks like though black, is going to have good play against white center. The knight is definitely going to jump in the game soon. So probably I would take black here, but it looks pretty equal. Oh, so all the games are good. Nobody's clearly dominating, which is sort of what we expected today, where everyone's kind of close. So the games are going to be close. Oh, this game's over. So probably that means both players are playing too fast. All right, let me get rid of the analysis. Try to use my own brain at first, at least. Okay. Oh, we didn't even get to look at this one. So, Caro-Kann defense. Yeah, looks like both sides pretty happy with the opening. And then quickly they got to this rook ending. So should be a draw. I mean, double rook endings are really drawish because you can usually always create counterplay with the rooks as long as you don't trade down into like a pawn ending. White or black does have the weak pawns, but this pawn's also kind of weak. So let's see what happens. And I mean, come on, like you get to this position and you use like a minute. You're not going to win games that way. All right, all these moves look logical. They look logical, though at the same time, I mean, there were other things black could have considered. You bring the rook up, kind of keeping the rook here, actually, and maybe going here at some point. Like let's say this had moved whatever, go b4, takes, rook a2. So even in an endgame, there's a lot of things to consider. All right, yeah, bringing the king up looks logical. Trying to bring the king to e6. That actually looks really nice. The king is centralized. It attacks this pawn, defends this pawn, and then it frees your rooks up. But okay. Yeah. Yeah. The rooks were not coordinated well. But it still should be okay. King e6. All right, so black actually won this game. All right. Yep, d4 is a nice move. Oh no. Yeah, if white doesn't trade rooks, white definitely has chances to survive. Start with here. So you definitely got to get the king in. Actually, yeah, why not do this? The idea is to trade. So if black moves back, you can just attack the pawn again. I don't see any other way to prevent this, right? Let's just say black's moves. That definitely looks dangerous. Say they go here. Not even sure that's the best move, but okay. Maybe this is too risky. Yeah, no. Probably better to just come back to, yeah, actually maybe go here. I'm trying to get around. This look actually kind of dangerous though, because the black king is so close. All right. Well, oh, but you gotta defend pawn. Oh, maybe do this. Okay. It's not great, but anyway, at least there's chances to defend. Yeah, you see white made this decision to trade so fast, he actually gained time. So he made this decision in 2 seconds. Yeah, no, you definitely don't want to do that. Even if it was the right decision, you still want to take the time because as soon as you get into a king and pawn ending, everything is very forcing. There's no such thing as being slightly better or slightly worse in a king and pawn ending. It's either a win, draw, that's it. So here, I mean, it's just very clear to see white's going to lose. This pawn will distract the king, and then black can go get these pawns. Go back to this game. Then we'll go to the other section. Oh, this one's over? Oh no, it was over in just 3 moves. Oh, black completely missed their opponent's threat. Bam. All right. Maybe just go g6. Normally you don't want to make this kind of move because it's weakening, but black doesn't, or white doesn't have a dark square bishop to attack these slightly weakened squares. It's g6. Yeah, this is a good pattern to know. All right, good game. Got to pay attention to your opponent's possibilities. All right, let's go to the other section. All right, cool. Ooh, this looks very tense. Both kings under some attack. Looks like Jude's just trying to figure out the most precise continuation to keep up the pressure on black while not falling victim to its own checks from the queen and stuff. But hey, it's looking pretty good for white, though. I actually don't see like a knockout win. Like, not actually even sure what the threat is necessarily. Okay. Black's still hanging on in that one. White's winning. And black's winning. All right. So let's stay with this game for a little bit because it might end kind of soon. Wow, so neither side gives a check. I thought white, well, yeah, might have considered a check. Well, now he does, but yeah, queen h8, nothing. Queen g8, king f6. But remember, if you're putting your opponent in check, then they don't have time to do anything to you. So all the initiative, all the control is in your side if you can make checks or other forcing moves. Oh, so earlier black had offered a draw, white declined. It's a good decision. Right, but then it was kind of like, what's the threat? Okay. King h6 was forced, right? Yeah, if you go rook f6, 7. So. Okay. Well, that's the thing. Since black didn't check it first, white did have time to get into this formation. I don't think it's over yet necessarily. So how should black deal with white's threats? All right, let's see if black makes a move in the next minute. Not, we'll just come back. Oh, nice. I think that was like the only saving move because white was actually threatening mate. And also, unfortunately, that check put the queens on the same diagonal. So even if like I was looking at like rook f5, though that probably is bad too. Here, and at the very least, white wins the queen. G5, this would actually be totally losing because this is a check, and then white, and then black could take white's queen. Okay, so both sides. Again, black's still hanging on here. Black's down a pawn though as well, so I mean, king is bad, down in position also. It's not so good. Oh, you know what's nice though? This queen controls this diagonal, so there's no checks anymore on the diagonal. So that's kind of nice. All right, I'm gonna pin this game up. Sure, we'll come back to it, especially if it simplifies into some kind of end game. Okay, queen e4 is played. Well, it looks like the games are all pretty close. Okay, white's up a pawn, but are they gonna stay up a pawn? Not necessarily. Okay, this still looks pretty even. Yeah, okay, so this one can definitely stay. Black's doing well. Extra pawn and bad white king. This one. Turn. Oh, oh, okay. Well, white has to just be a little careful. If black were to take here, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. White would just take here and then take. Just thinking of other stuff. All right, so white's looking really good here. All right, so this is kind of the key game. So it's now equal because black was able to take on c5. But yeah, definitely, I think white's doing well. Really considering just the bad spot of this queen. It's out of the game. And white has just kind of nice coordination. The rook and the queen. Bishop's aimed at the king. They're just bishop's on a nice central square in general. The knight's also pretty well placed. I think still in black's doing decent, but definitely prefer white. So let's go back to this game. So rook g6. All right, black is just really trying to hang on. Well, now the addition of this open file gives some chances for both sides again for an attack. I mean, what is happening here? I mean, it's not even about the pawns just yet. It's just who's going to attack. And then is it possible to just trade into a winning endgame? Yeah, white made that choice kind of fast. I'm a little surprised because rook h6 was a key move. Forces the king up. If you go here, you get checkmated. Yeah, I mean, you gotta just keep checking. Looks It looks unpleasant. If I was white, I wouldn't have really wanted this to happen. Yeah, the h4 is open to checks. And here's, unfortunately, something we see at all levels where you make a hasty decision, maybe trying to conserve clock time, but then in a couple moves, you're going to have to think, oh, well, in that bad position. All right, so black unfortunately blunders the queen, but it may have been losing position regardless. All right, good game, guys. No, black defended well, though, to even survive to that point. So good job. All right, e6. Knight f6 was played. Logical. You didn't want to take the e6 pawn because then the bishop on e7 is open. Yeah, I mean, this move helps bring the queen back in. Oops, opens the file. Yeah, this is why I thought black was still doing okay. Both players have a ton of time. So you guys actually had 40 minutes. It's longer than usual, so definitely want to use your time. Well, now that we're clearly past the opening, the time has come to just decide on a plan. Ideally, your moves connect to each other and they're part of some larger plan. So you may always have to change your plan in the future depending on what your opponent does. So in general, I think white wants to take quick advantage of the fact that the queen is off sides here and you have your pieces pretty in pretty active, let's say active places. I mean, there's also this situation to deal with. White is just looking for the weak spot in their opponent's position and trying to figure out a plan to exploit it. And I would say one of the weak spots, definitely the queen. And also these pawns could also become weak, the queen side pawns. Now for black, probably trying to figure out, well, I mean, it's all sort of connected. Black is trying to figure out, how do I improve the position of these pawns and the position of the queen? And then the move should serve that. So beware, I guess I should put those words together. Beware in chess of making moves that look active, but if they're not part of a plan, they might just end up on a bad square. Because, I mean, I guess I'm not sure when black moved the rook here, but it might have been better to have this rook here and then have another queenside rook over here, for example. So this was back. Actually, yeah, I think you could have gone rook fd8 here and kept this guy for the queen side, but it's not the end of the world. All right, yes, bishop e3 is played, very logical. Attacking the queen side pawns and not really doing this. I mean, you could do that, but that kind of spends a move. Might be better just see if black is going to take, because when you take back, it's with a check, so you don't even lose a move, really. Wait, what's happening here? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So black's just up a piece in a better position. Okay, it's only a couple games left. This is definitely the closest game by far. Honestly, I always liked having a tough game at the beginning. It just seems to like get you going, no matter if you're the stronger player or the weaker player. Really good to see the players take their time. I mean, these games started at 12 o'clock, so it's pretty normal for the game to be like 40 minutes. This was the Scandinavian? Yeah. All right, knight d5 has just been played. Well, knights in the center are very strong. This knight has a lot of targets. Also, potentially, this is kind of opened up. Seems fairly good move. Well, if you guys are looking for ways to play against the Scandinavian, check out Ali Rez's game against Magnus Carlsen, maybe from about a month ago. Let's just say Magnus's king ended up on e6 and getting checkmated in the middle of the board. Yikes. But he had a perfectly good opening position, so you can't really blame the opening for that. In fact, most of the time, you lose a game, it's tempting to be like, well, I made a mistake in the opening and it was all downhill. More often than not, though, it's not really an opening mistake. It's more of just misunderstanding something about the position. So, I mean, unless you're like dropping your queen in the opening, be honest with yourself about where the game went wrong. Try to figure out why. See if the other section. All right, these guys start in 3 minutes. Okay, so, well, there's the thing. These guys taking their time. Just have to kind of sit here. All right, so white decided to take the knight. Don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, it looks like in an endgame, white's going to have the better pawn structure because you see white has connected pawns over here, and black's pawns are a little more loose over here. They have, like, we could say 3 pawn islands, white has 2. And then these pawns are doubled and isolated on an open file. Well, they just got undoubled. That's interesting, yeah, because, you know, I feel like this would be maybe the first instinct because you attack the queen, but I like this move too. Now you have, you've undoubled the pawn. It's now passed. No pawns in front of it. It probably will not remain connected with its brother for long. This pawn is probably going to be captured at some point. So this pawn will be isolated, but it's also further advanced and in the center. So the last few moves seem to have been in black's favor. Trying to figure out what happens. Hard to say. Maybe white should have taken here. Maybe plop the queen here, threaten things like this. Not sure. Because knight d5 turned out to be pretty good. Yeah, maybe bishop e3. It's tempting to put the bishop on the diagonal of the queen, but you do block the rook in. You know, it's these kind of trade-offs you always have to think about in chess. Almost every move comes with some sort of trade-off. Makes chess very frustrating. All right, well, let's check out the openings here. So I'll just reiterate, I think e4, e5 is the best way to go for both players, but if you don't want to do that, at least play open positions. If you don't want to do that, I don't know. What could you play? I don't know. Play the King's Gambit or something. Or you could do what this player did. Just try to win in 4 moves. I'm not sure what white's idea was, but this isn't a good idea because you lose a bishop. Okay, French. Yeah, French is good. Yeah, d4, d5. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I highly recommend black choose a different setup. These types of setups, they're great if you're like 2,500. Problem is you let white have the center. And I just think they're really tough to play for black in the best of circumstances. You don't get an open position with tactics, which are very important to help you get better. So I just highly discourage this as black. You know, you can always come back to it later. But anyway, what happened here? B6, haven't seen that in a while. But see, even like this, I mean, this is kind of weird, but at least black is castled. You got semi-open file. You have ways to attack the center. So even, I mean, this has been a little weird, but at least black is attacking the center and has some clear ideas. But yeah, okay. Trying to think, what game should we focus on? How about Jude's game? Yeah, it's a fun opening to talk about. So e6 is the French defense. Black still fights for the center after d5, but you don't get the same symmetry with e4, e5. So it makes the game, I guess, depending on your point of view, more interesting without that symmetry. And Black's idea is to, again, keep attacking the center. And Black can put a lot of pressure on the D pawn. Yeah, so already we have a couple pieces, or well, a pawn and a piece. This can come in, this can come in, I think without giving anything away, really. These are all very standard ideas. While White has more space for the moment, they need to make sure they protect their center very well. And then White should be better. Black's main problem in the French is this bishop because it's locked behind the pawns. So that's something, that's one problem Black needs to solve. And just the fact that you're like thinking about these things just, helps you get better. If you choose an opening where you don't have to think, you're robbing yourself of a lot of possibilities and opportunities to just think more about chess. All right, let's go back to this journey game. Ooh. Oh, okay. I was like, how long has this been happening? Yeah, I guess Black just had to take here first. And I think it's okay. Yeah. I think you're just losing a rook, right? Ouch. Yeah, that would have been an interesting endgame. Probably still better for White. But yeah. All right. Tough. G6 I'm not as familiar with. Maybe I don't know. I mean, you just got to be aware you're weakening these squares, and Black in this game does have the dark square bishop that can target those squares, so I'm not sure about that move. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with here. In fact, I think White's bishop b5 looks a little suspect. A little sus. Yeah, I was like, ooh, bishop f6 looks just vicious. Now that rook has to move, can't castle. Yeah, we're kind of seeing some of the consequences here. All right, these guys, they're still playing. No, they're done. Okay, 5 minutes for championship. What's happening here? Okay. So this would be known as a sharp position as opposed to like a static position where things are more blocked. They're not really changing that fast. In a sharp position, the possibility or the position can change drastically from move to move. So there's a lot of threats from both sides, a lot of sides kind of have these opposing plans where it's kind of like whose plan is going to prevail first. So when kings are castled on different sides of the board, often an attack is in store. You know, you can push these pawns because your own king is not there. And already we see we could be headed to an end game. Oh, yeah, just a blunder right there. Probably, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with taking the queen, taking. No, actually, this rook is hanging. Yeah, that would have definitely been the way to go. Or actually, even maybe this is the best move. Yeah, so white just got kind of reckless there. Should have lost this one. It should have been in a losing position. Let's put it that way. Well, you guys got to watch. If you got knight on g5, watch for that queen. We saw someone lose just the same way in another game. It was with queen in front and the bishop in the back. So knowing those checkmate patterns is very important. All right, anyway, it's going to be a tough loss on that front. Yeah, looks like black was able to get up a knight in Queen's Gambit. Oh, no, not Queen's Gambit. D-pawn opening. Oh, okay, I just blundered the knight. Yeah, so if you're blundering pieces, usually just means you need to slow down. And before you move, see if your opponent has any checks, captures, or forcing moves. Yeah, usually I try to avoid taking here because these pawns are actually quite strong controlling the center and this file is open. You can actually leave the bishop here because the pawn's protecting it, or even just move back. I think that's better. All right. Well, these guys start in a minute. Yeah, strong players gonna have to play each other pretty soon because not that many players in the section. You know, besides e4, e5, the open systems, I also recommend playing at least one gambit. I mean, there's a lot of openings where you can gambit a pawn, so you can kind of pick. The Goring Gambit is a great choice because you're giving up the pawn without much risk, unlike in like the King's Gambit. And again, it just teaches you to just look for tactics. There's a lot of very thematic tactics and traps in the Goring, super fun. Oh man, I actually thought we. Oh, this was a Sicilian. Okay, never mind. So the Goring is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, e takes d4, then c3. D takes c3, knight takes c3. All right, so someone has studied up on the accelerated dragon, is this? Yeah. Yeah, so in the accelerated dragon, you often drop the bishop back. So now it's protected, because sometimes knight e4, knight a5 can hit the bishop. and it's annoying if it's not protected. All right, so basically another sharp position. Kings on opposite sides, both sides just trying to develop their pieces to the best spots to attack the king. Yeah, we see pawn storm. So neither side is paying a lot of attention to their opponent's ideas. They're just trying to get in their own plan as fast as possible. Cool, so this is great to see. Again, this perfect type of opening position, for young developing players, just to learn how to attack. So then, wait, was this the game we were just looking at? That would be really funny. No. So we also have another, could have been an accelerated, or yeah. Huh? Yeah, this is an accelerated dragon. So white took early. But yeah, you can just see, okay, so once the queens are off, the attacks are not as strong and the position drastically changes. D5 also changes the position. Yeah, no, this is looking very pleasant for black with their two center pawns. So yeah, I'm not sure why white wanted to trade the queens off so urgently. Probably could have just gone there, but anyway. We have a Spanish 4 knights. Yeah, these positions are a lot of fun too. Yeah, if you're a player who likes the 4 knights, check out Akiba Rubinstein's games from like the 20s and 30s. He would literally take like the simplest positions and just like find a simple plan and just beat everybody. It's great. It's awesome. So Queen's Gambit. Oh, so it started off London, boring. But then white played c4. Yeah, which is really great actually. I think in the London, don't you, c3, and nothing happens. But c4, you're introducing some tension in the center, and you're just giving yourself good questions to think about that are going to help you in every game you play. Should I take? Should I push? What happens if they take me? Where should I put my knight? What should my plan be? Etc. etc. These are the type of things that help you get better. Yeah, and so black decided to bring the bishop to b4. Yeah, I guess you could probably do that. Sometimes I like to go here and like challenge the London bishop, but yeah, it's all pretty good. And yeah, you can imagine if black gets c5 in later, that's going to be pretty fun. Now all the pawns are looking at each other, and there's just a lot to kind of think about. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think for black, I don't think the pawn storm is actually the best because white doesn't have any of their pawns advanced, so there's no pawn to really like a hook to attack and then take. Here black has this pawn, so boom, boom, files open. So I think the better decision probably take here. Maybe then you could go b5, b4. I think that makes more sense. Now I think white's attack is just coming in. Oh, this is just pain. Yeah, that knight, you can't, I guess you can't let that knight sit there, but problems really aren't that solved. Now you got these guys, you got this weak square. Oh boy. But that's okay. You know, Black will go home and look at this opening and find a better plan for next time. So, I mean, when you do play, you know, these, yeah, Black just gave up. Oh, dude, I don't blame you. I would not want to keep playing. So that does sometimes happen, right? It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll just go back to my, I don't know, London or whatever, where I don't have to really think about the opening. Okay, but I still think you get a lot better by getting into these type of positions. Yeah, white just, or Black just overlooked the skewer. Looks like Black's gonna be down material. Okay. Ooh, got a pin on in this game. Ooh. Yeah, you gotta just watch out for the forks. So seeing, okay, I don't know. That was that comment didn't really add anything. All right, but it still shows the importance of tactics. Just in the last minute, we've seen some killer skewers, pins, and forks that will sink your position. Oh, this game is the four knights. All right, looks like white's just up a pawn for not much compensation. So white's doing pretty well. All right, check out other section, and then we'll probably leave. Oh, oh. Look at these bad boys. Is this it? Okay. Yep, only move, otherwise checkmate. Oof. White's probably like, thank goodness these pieces are over here. How did the thing become open? Oh, it's probably a h4. Why was g4 played? Ooh, yeah, no, white, you definitely don't want to do that. Leave these pawns here, because even if this guy chugs up the board, you can always like take and then go h3, keep those files closed. Oh. Ooh, yeah, definitely you don't want to go grabbing this pawn. That just helps open the file. I don't know, maybe stuff can start happening over here. Oh. Oh. Man, you combine the kind of the imagery of these two rooks, and then in that other game, there was those two pawns like menacing the king. See some unhappy kings today. I feel like this one could be over kind of soon, so we'll just watch for a couple minutes. But overall, yeah, really good today. Oh, really good job, everybody. For the most part, players taking their time and just seeing a lot of even positions and good chess. Yeah. Oof, yeah, I just feel once another piece comes in. Uh, so I guess white went to e3 to step out of the pin. Well, let's see. So we're just gonna kind of sit on this game and then leave from here. I'm just curious what white's gonna do. Yeah, I think you had to move that. Otherwise, just bishop takes knight, queen takes, queen. So white found the only defense. Good job. Actually, the black queen doesn't have a ton of squares. I mean, the one problem with putting the bishop here does block the rook. So maybe, ooh, actually, that looked pretty good. No, you just gotta make the most of your opportunities. Even in a bad position, if just little by little your opponent doesn't quite find the best moves and you can hang in there, then you just keep making moves, keep hanging in there, and sometimes you can get out of a bad position. So yeah, I think rook h3 instead of bishop h5 may have been the better move. Yeah, I mean, yeah, queen f7 is kind of the only move. It's sort of goofy how the knights control all those squares. Now there's really not necessarily a threat, so white can take some time to decide, should I make a defensive move? Should I go for my own attack? What should I do? Yeah, this looks like the best idea to me. Challenge those rooks, those cannons. Yeah, let's just take a quick look around and then we'll go. So looking pretty good for Jew, for black. Just here. Wait, wasn't. Oh, yeah. Black hung the piece. Okay, so white should win. Ooh. It's a cool move. So white's up. What was happening here? I don't even know what's going on. Wait, what? Hmm. Somebody give a piece? What is going on? Okay. Not sure how much this was all necessary. Isn't white winning now? Yeah, so kind of a bad sequence of events for black, and now looks like white's just winning. I think knight f2 wasn't necessary, right? Because you're up a piece, you can just move her out of the way, and then even after takes, looks okay. This unfortunately just hangs another piece. Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought the queen was like trapped and stuff, but then I realized, oh, there's this. So, okay. Yeah, tough game. Good game, guys. Did anyone move here? All right, looks like black will or white will survive another few moves at least, and maybe even be okay. They are up a pawn. All right, we'll stop the share. Yeah, overall, really, really good. It's definitely one of the strongest performances I've been seeing. You know, just everyone's been pretty close to each other and has been taking their time and finding good moves. Some really good defenses as well.